Welcome to my book nook.
Welcome back to my book nook. We are reading The Help by Kathryn Stockett. I hope that you are enjoying it. This chapter is chapter 7 and it's called Abilene. The heat wave finally passes around the middle of October and we get ourselves a cool 50 degrees. In the mornings, that bathroom seat get cold out there. Give me a little start when I sit down. It's just a little room they built inside the carport. Inside is a toilet and a little sink attached to the wall, a pull cord for the light bulb. Paper have to set on the floor. While I waited on Miss Collier, her carport attached to the house, so I didn't have to go outside. Place before that had a maid quarters, plus my little own bedroom for when I sit at night. This one I got to cross through the weather to get there. On a Tuesday noon, I carried my lunch out to the back steps, sat down on the cool concrete. Miss Leafolt's grass don't grow good back here. A big magnolia tree shades most of the yard. I already know that's the tree gonna be May Mobley's hideout. In about 5 years, to hide from Miss Leafolt. After a while, May Mobley waddled out on the back step. She got half her hamburger patty in her hand. She smiled up at me and said, "Good." "How come you not in there with your mama?" I asked, but I know why. She'd rather be sitting out here with The Help than in there watching her mama look anywhere but at her. She like one of them baby chickens that got confused and followed the ducks around instead. May Mobley pointed the bluebirds getting ready for winter, twittering in the little gray fountain. "Bluebirds!" She points and drops her hamburger down on the step. Out of nowhere, that old big dog Obby, they don't never pay no mind to come up and gobble it down. I don't take to dogs, but this one is just plain pitiful. I pet him on the head. I bet nobody petted that dog since Christmas. When May Mobley see him, she squeal and grab at his tail. It whaps her in the face a few times before she get hold. Poor thing, he whine and give her one of those pitiful people dog looks. His head turned funny, his eyebrows up. I can almost hear him asking her to turn him loose. He ain't the biting kind. So she'll let go. I say, "May Mobley, where's your tail?" Sure enough, she let go and started looking at her rear. Her mouth popped open like she just can't believe she done missed it all this time. She turning in wobbly circles trying to see it. "You ain't got no tail." I laugh and catch her before she fall off that step. Dog sniff round for more hamburger. It always tickle me how these babies believe anything you tell them. Tate Forrest, one of my used-to-be babies long time ago, stopped me on the way to the jitney last week. Give me a big hug. So happy to see me. He a grown man now. I needed to get back to Miss Leafolt's, but he start laughing and memorying how I do him when he was a boy, how the first time his foot fell asleep he say it tickle. I told him that was just his foot snoring, and now I told him don't drink coffee or he gon' turn colored. He say he still ain't drunk a cup of coffee and he 21 years old. It's always nice seeing the kids grown up. May Mobley Leafolt. Miss Leafolt, just now noticing her child ain't sitting in the same room with her. "She out here with me, Miss Leafolt," I say through the screen door. "I told you to eat in your high chair, May Mobley. How I ended up with you when all my friends have angels I just do not know." But then the phone ring and I hear her stomping off to get it. I look down at baby girl and see her forehead all wrinkled up between the eyes. She's studying hard on something. I touch her cheek. "You all right, baby?" She say, "May Mo bad." The way she say it like it a fact make my insides hurt. "May Mobley," I say, 'cause I got a notion to try something. "You a smart girl?" She just look at me like she don't know. "You a smart girl," I say again. She say, "May Mo smart." I say, "You a kind little girl." She just look at me. She 2 years old. She don't know what she is yet. I say, "You a kind girl." And she nod and repeat it back to me. But before I can do another one, she gets up and chase that poor dog around the yard and laugh. And that's when I go to wandering. What would happen if I told her she's something good every day? She turned from the bird bath and smile and holler, "Hi, Abby. I love you, Abby." And I feel a tickly feeling, soft like the flap of butterfly wings, watching her play out there. The way I used to feel watching tree lore. And that makes me kind of sad, memorying. After a while, May Mobley come over and press her cheek up to mine and just hold it there like she know I be hurting. I hold her tight and whisper, "You a smart girl. You a kind girl. May Mobley, you hear me?" And I keep saying it till she repeat it back to me. The next few weeks are real important for May Mobley. You think on it. You probably don't remember the first time you went to the bathroom in the toilet bowl instead of a diaper. Probably don't give no credit to who taught you neither. Never had a single baby I raised come up to me and say, "Abilene, why I sure do thank you for showing me how to go in on the pot." It's a tricky thing. You try and get a baby to go in the toilet before it's time. It'll make them crazy. They can't get the hang of it and get to thinking low of themselves. Baby girl, though, I know she ready. And she knows she ready, but law, if she ain't running my fool legs off. I set her on the wooden baby seat so her little hiney don't fall in, and as soon as I turn my back, she's off that pot running. "You got to go, May Mobley?" "No, you drunk up 2 glasses of grape juice. I know you got to go." "No, I give you a cookie if you go for me." We look at each other a while. She starts eyeing the door. I don't hear nothing happening in the bowl. Usually I can get them going after about 2 weeks, but that's if they got their mama helping me. Little boys get to see their daddy doing it standing up style. Little girls got to see their mama sitting down. Miss Leafold won't let that girl come near her when she going, and that's the trouble. "Go just a little bit for me, baby girl." She stick her lip out and shake her head. Miss Leafold gone to get her hair done. Else I ask her again, will she set the example even though that woman's already said no 5 times? Last time Miss Leafold say no, I was fixing to tell her how many kids I raised in my lifetime and ask her what number she on. But I ended up saying, "All right," like I always do. "I give you 2 cookies, I say, even though her mama always get on me about making her fat. May Mobley, she shake her head and say, "You go." Now, I ain't saying I ain't heard this before, but usually I can get around it. I know, though, she got to see how it's done before she gonna get to business. I say, "I don't got to go." We look at each other, and she point again and say, "You go." Then she get to crying and fidgeting, 'cause I see making a little indent on her behind, and I know what I'm on have to do. I just don't know how to go about it. Should I take her out to the garage to mine or go here in this bathroom? What if Miss Leafold come home and I'm sitting up on this toilet? She have a fit. I put her diaper back on. We go out to the garage. Rain make it smell a little swampy. Even with the light on, it's dark and they ain't no fancy wallpaper like inside the house. In fact, they really ain't no proper walls at all. Just plyboard hammered together. I wonder if she gonna be scared. All right, baby girl. Here 'tis. Abilene's bathroom. She stick her head in and her mouth make the shape of a Cheerio. She say, "Oh." I take down my underthings and I TT real fast, use the paper and get it all back on before she could really see anything. Then I flush. "And that's how you go in the toilet," I say. Well, don't she look surprised? She got her mouth hanging open like she done seen a miracle. I step out and before I know it, she got her diaper off and that little monkey done climbed on the toilet, holding herself up so she don't fall in, going TT for herself. "May Mobley, you going? That real good." She smile and I catches her for she dipped down in it. We run back inside and she get her 2 cookies. Later on, I got her on the pot and she'd go again for me. That's the hardest part those first couple of times, and by the end of the day, feel like I really done something. She getting to be a pretty good talker, and you can guess what the new word of the day is. What baby girl gonna do today? She say TT. When they done put in the history books next to this day, she say TT. I say, "What Miss Healy smell like?" She say TT. But I get on to myself. It wasn't Christian. Plus, I'm afraid she repeat it. Late that afternoon, Miss Leafolk come home with her hair all teased up. She got a permanent, and she smells like pneumonia. Guess what May Mobley done today, I say. Went to the bathroom in the toilet bowl. Oh, that's wonderful. She give her girl a hug, something I don't see enough of. I mean, I know she mean it, too, because Miss Leafolk do not like changing diapers. I say, you got to make sure she go in the pot from now on. It's real confusing for her if you don't. Miss Leafolk smile and say, all right. Let's see if she do it one more time before I go home. We go in the bathroom. I get her diapers off and put her on the toilet. But baby girl, she's shaking her head. Come on, May Mobley. Can't you go in the pot for your mama? No. Finally, I put her back down on her feet. That's all right. You did real good today. But Miss Leafolk, she got her lips sticking out. She humping and frowning down at her. But before I get her diaper on again, baby girl run off as fast as she can. Naked little white baby running through the house. She in the kitchen. She got the back door open. She in the garage trying to reach the knob to my bathroom. We run after her, and Miss Leafolk pointing her finger. Her voice go about 10 pitches too high. This is not your bathroom. Baby girl wagging her head. My bathroom. Miss Leafolk snatch her up, give her a pop on the leg. Miss Leafolk, she don't know what she do. Get back in the house, Abilene. I hate it, but I go into the kitchen. I stand in the middle, and I leave the door open behind me. I did not raise you to use the colored bathroom, I hear her hiss whispering, thinking I can't hear. And I think, lady, you didn't raise your child at all. This is dirty out here, May Mobley. You'll catch diseases. No, no, no. And I hear her pop her again and again on her bare legs. After a second, Miss Leafolk potato sack her inside. There ain't nothing I could do but watch it happen. My heart feel like it's squeezing up into my throat pipe. Miss Leafolk dropped May Mobley in front of the TV. She marched to her bedroom and slammed the door, and I go give baby girl a hug. She's still crying, and she look awful confused. I'm real sorry, May Mobley, I whispered to her. I'm cussing myself for taking her out there in the first place, but I don't know what else to say, so I just hold her. We sit there watching Little Rascals until Miss Leafolk come out. Ask, ain't it past time for me to go? I tuck my bust dime in my pocket, give May Mobley one more hug, and whisper, you a smart girl. You a good girl. On the ride home, I don't see the big white houses. Passing outside the window, I don't talk to my maid friends. I see baby girl getting spanked 'cause of me. I see her listening to Miss Leafolk call me dirty and diseased. The bus speeds up along State Street, and we pass over the Woodrow Wilson Bridge, and my jaw's so tight I could break my teeth. I feel that bitter seed growing inside of me, the one planted after Treelor died. I want to yell so loud that baby girl can hear me that dirty ain't a color. Disease ain't the Negro side of town. I want to stop that moment from coming in and come in every white child's life and they start to think that colored folks ain't as good as whites. We turn on Farish and I stand up because my stop be coming. I pray that wasn't her moment. Pray I still got time. Things is real quiet the next few weeks. May Mobley's wearing big girl panties now. She don't hardly ever have no accidents. After what happened in the garage, Miss Leafolk take a real interest in May Mobley's bathroom habits. She even let her watch her on the pot, set the white example. Few times, though, when her mama's gone, I still catch her trying to go in mine. Sometimes she do it before I can tell her no. Hey, Miss Clark. Robert Brown, who do Miss Leafolk's yard, come up on her back steps. It's nice and cool out, and I open the screen door. How you doing, son? I say and pat him on the arm. I hear you working every yard on the street. Yes, ma'am, got 2 guys mowing for me. He grinned. He a handsome boy, tall with short hair. Went to school with Treelor. They was good friends, played baseball together. I touch him on the arm, just needing to feel it again. How your grandmama? I ask. I love Lavinia. She is the sweetest person living. She and Robert came to the funeral together. This makes me remember what's coming next week, the worst day of the year. She's stronger than me, he smiled. I bet by your house on Saturday to mow. I'd be by your house on Saturday to mow. Treelor always did my mowing for me. Now Robert does it without my even asking. Never will take any money for it. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate it. You need anything, you call me, all right, Miss Clark? Thank you, son. I hear the doorbell ring, and I see Miss Skeeter's car out front. Miss Skeeter been coming over to Miss Leafold's every week this month to ask me the Miss Myrna questions. She asks about hard water stains, and I tell her cream of tartar. She asks you how to unscrew a light bulb that done broke off in the socket, and I tell her a raw potato. She asks me what happened with her old mate Constantine and her mama, and I go cold. I thought if I told her a few weeks ago about Constantine having a daughter, she'd leave me alone about it after that. But Miss Skeeter just keep on asking me questions. I could tell she don't understand why a colored woman can't raise no white-skinned baby in Mississippi. It'd be a hard, lonely life not belonging here nor there. Every time Miss Skeeter finished asking me about how to clean this, or fix that, or where Constantine, we get to talking about other things too. That's not something I've done a whole lot with my bosses or they friends. I find myself telling her how tree lore never made below a B+, or that the new church deacon got on my nerves 'cause he lisped. Little bits, but things I ordinarily wouldn't tell a white person. Today I tried to explain to her the difference between dipping and polishing the silver. How only the tacky houses do the dip 'cause it's faster. But it don't look so good. Miss Skeeter cocked her head to the side, wrinkled her forehead. Abilene, remember that idea tree lore had? I nod, feel a prickle. I should have never shared that with a white woman. Miss Skeeter squinted her eyes like she did when she brung up the bathroom thing that time. I've been thinking about it, and I've been wanting to talk to you. But before she can finish, Miss Leafold come in the kitchen and catch baby girl playing with my comb in my pocketbook and say, maybe Miss May Mobley ought to have a bath early today. I tell Miss Skeeter goodbye, and I go start the tub. After I spent a year dreading it, November 8th finally came. I expect I sleep about 2 hours the night before. I wake up at dawn and put on a pot of community coffee on the stovetop. My back hurts when I bend over to get my stockings on. Before I walk out the door, the phone ring. Just checking on you. You sleep? I did all right. I'm gonna bring you a caramel cake today. And I don't want you to do nothing but sit in your kitchen and eat the whole thing for supper. I try to smile, but nothing come out. I tell Minnie thank you. 3 years ago today, Tree Lord died. But by Miss Leafold's book, it's still floor cleaning day. Thanksgiving coming in 2 weeks, and I got plenty to do to get ready. I scrubbed my way through the morning, through the 12 o'clock news. I missed my stories 'cause the ladies is in the dining room having a benefit meeting, and I ain't allowed to turn on the TV when they's company. And that's fine. My muscles is shivering, they so tired. But I don't want to stop moving. About 4 o'clock, Miss Skeeter come in the kitchen, and before she can even say hello, Miss Leafold rushed in behind her. Abilene, I just found out Mrs. Fredericks is driving down from Greenwood tomorrow and staying through Thanksgiving. I want the silver service polished and all the guest towels washed. Tomorrow I'll give you the list of what else. Miss Leafold shake her head at Miss Skeeter like she ain't got the hardest life in town and walks out. I go on and get the silver service out the dining room. La, I'm already tired and I got to be ready for work to work the benefit next Saturday night. Minnie ain't coming. She too scared she gonna run into Miss Hilly. Miss Skeeter's still waiting on me in the kitchen when I come back in. She got a Miss Myrna letter in her hand. You got a cleaning question? I said, go ahead. No, really, I wanted to ask you. The other day, I take a plug of pinola cream and start rubbing it onto the silver. Working the cloth around the rose design, the lip, and the handle. God, please let tomorrow come soon. I ain't gonna go to the graveside. I can't. It'll be too hard. Abilene, are you feeling all right? I stop and look up and realize Miss Skeeter been talking to me the whole time. I'm sorry. It's just think about something. You look so sad. Miss Skeeter, I feel tears come up in my eyes 'cause 3 years just ain't long enough. 100 years ain't gonna be long enough. You mind if I help you with them questions tomorrow? Miss Skeeter starts to say something, but then she stops herself. Of course. I hope you feel better. I finish the silver set and the towels and tell Miss Leafold I gotta go home even though it's half an hour early and she gonna short my pay. She opened her mouth like she wanted to protest and I whisper my lie. I vomited. And she said, go, 'cause beside her own mother there ain't nothing Miss Leafolt's scared of more than Negro diseases. All right, then, I'll be back in 30 minutes. I'll pull right up here at 9:45. Miss Leafolt say through the passenger car window. Miss Leafolt dropping me off at the Jitney 14 to pick up what else we need for Thanksgiving tomorrow. You bring her back that receipt now, Miss Fredericks, Miss Leafolt's mean old mama say. They all three in the front seat, May Mobley squeezed in the middle with a look so miserable you think she about to get a tetanus shot. Poor girl, Miss Fredericks supposed to stay 2 weeks this time. Don't forget the turkey now, Miss Leafolt say, and 2 cans of cranberry sauce. I smile. I only been cooking white Thanksgiving since Calvin Coolidge was president. Quit squirming, May Mobley, Miss Fredericks snaps her. I'll pinch you. Miss Leafolt, let me take her in the store with me. Help me with my shopping. Miss Fredericks about to protest, but Miss Leafolt say, take her. And before I know it, baby girl done wormed her way over Miss Fredericks' lap and is climbing out the window into my arms like I am the Lord Savior. I pull her up on my hip and they drive off toward Fortification Street. And baby girl with me, we giggle like a couple of schoolgirls. I push open the metal door, get a cart, put May Mobley up front, stick your legs through the holes. Long as I got my white uniform on, I'm allowed to shop in this jitney. I miss the old days when you just walk out to Fortification Street and there'd be the farmers with their wheelbarrows calling out sweet potatoes, butter beans, string beans, okra, fresh cream, buttermilk, yellow cheese, eggs. But the jitney ain't so bad. At least they got the good air conditioning. All right, baby girl, let's see what we need. In produce, I pick out 6 sweet potatoes, 3 handfuls of string beans. I got smoked ham hock from the butcher. The store's bright, lined up neat, nothing like the colored Piggly Wiggly with sawdust on the floor. It's mostly white ladies smiling, got their hair fixed already and sprayed for tomorrow. 4 or 5 maids is shopping, all in their uniforms. Purple stuff, May Mobley saying. I let her hold the can of cranberry. She smiled at it like it's an old friend. She loved the purple stuff. In dry goods, I heaved the 2-pound bag of salt in the cart to brine the turkey in. I count the hours on my hands, 10, 11, 12. If I'm on to soak the bird for 14 hours in the salt water, I'll put it in the bucket around 3 this afternoon. Then I'll come into Miss Leafolt's at 5 tomorrow morning and cook the turkey for the next 6 hours. I already baked 2 pans of cornbread, left it stale on the counter today to give it some crunch. I got an apple pie ready to bake, gonna do my biscuits in the morning. Ready for tomorrow, Abilene? I turn and I see Franny Coots behind me. She go to my church, work for Miss Caroline on manship. Hey, cutie, look at them fat legs, she say to May Mobley. May Mobley licked the cranberry can. Franny bent her head down and say, you hear what happened to Lavinia Brown's grandson this morning? Robert, I say, who do the mowing? Use the white bathroom at Pinchman Lawn and Garden. So there wasn't a sign up saying so. 2 white men chased him and beat him with a tire iron. Oh, no, not Robert. Is he? Franny shake her head. They don't know. He up at the hospital. I hear he blind. God, no. I close my eyes. Lavinia, she is the purest, kindest person there is. She raised Robert after her own daughter died. Poor Lavinia. I don't know why the bad have to happen to the goodest ones, Franny say. That afternoon I worked like a crazy woman, chopping onions and celery, mixing up my dressing, rice and sweet potatoes, stringing the beans, polishing silver. I heard folks is heading to Lavinia Brown's tonight at 5:30 to pray for Robert. But by that time I lift the 20-pound turkey in the brine. I can't barely raise my arms. I don't finish cooking till 6 o'clock that night. 2 hours later than usual. I know I ain't gonna have the strength to go knock on Lavinia's door. I'll have to do it tomorrow after I'm done cleaning up the turkey. I waddle myself from the bus stop, hardly able to keep my eyes open, and I turn the corner on Jessam. The big white Cadillac's parked in front of my house, and there be Miss Skeeter in a red dress and red shoes, sitting on my front step like a bullhorn. I walk real slow through my yard, wondering what it's gonna be now. Miss Skeeter stand up holding her pocketbook tight like it might get snatched. White peoples don't come round my neighborhood unless they toting the help to and fro, and that is just fine with me. I spend all day tending to white peoples. I don't need 'em looking in on me at home. I hope you don't mind me coming by, she says. I didn't know where else we could talk. I sit down on the step and every knob on my spine hurt. Baby girl's so nervous around her grandmama. She wet all over me and I smell like it. The street's full of folks walking to sweet Lavinia's to pray for Robert. Kids playing ball in the street. Everybody looking over at us thinking, I must be getting fired or something. Yes, ma'am, I say, what can I do for you? I have an idea. Something I want to write about, but I need your help. I let all my breath out. I liked Miss Skeeter, but come on, sure. A phone call would have been nice. She never would have just shown up on some white lady step without calling, but no. She done plopped herself down like she got every right to barge in on me at home. I want to interview you about what it's like to work as a maid. A red ball rolled a few feet in my yard, and that little Jones boy run across the street to get it. When he see Miss Skeeter, he stopped dead. Then he run and snatch it up. He turn and dash off like he's scared she gonna get him. Like the Miss Myrna call him, I say, flat as a pan. 'Bout cleaning? Not like Miss Myrna. Talking about a book, she say, and her eyes is big. She excited. Stories about what it's like to work for a white family. What it's like to work for, say, Elizabeth. I turn and I look at her. This is when she been trying to ask me for the past 2 weeks in Miss Leafold's kitchen. You think Miss Leafold gonna agree to that? Me telling stories about her? Miss Skeeter's eyes dropped down some. Well, no. I was thinking we wouldn't tell her. I'll have to make sure the other maids will agree to keep it secret, too. A scrunch up my forehead, just starting to get to what she's asking. Other maids? And I was hoping to get 4 or 5 to really show what it's like to be a maid in Jackson. I look around. We out here in the wide open. Don't you know how dangerous this could be? Talking about this while the whole world can see us. Exactly what kind of stories you think you gonna hear? What you get paid, how they treat you, the bathrooms, the babies, all the things you've seen, good and bad. She looks excited, like this is some kind of game. For a second, I think I might be more mad than I am tired. Miss Skeeter, I whisper, do that not sound kind of dangerous to you? Not if we're careful. Shh, please. Do you know what will happen to me if Miss Leafold find out I talk behind her back? We won't tell her or anyone. She lowers her voice some, but not enough. These will be private interviews. I just stare at her. Is she crazy? Did you hear about the colored boy this morning? When they beat with a tire iron for accidentally using the white bathroom? She just look at me and blink a little. I know things are unstable, but this is... And my cousin Chanel in Cowder County, they burned up her car because she went down to the voting station. No one's ever written a book like this, she say, finally whispering. Finally starting to understand, I guess. We'd be breaking new ground. It's a brand new perspective. I'll spot a flock of maids in their uniforms walking by my house, and they look over to see me sitting with a white woman on my front step. I grit my teeth. I already know my phone gonna be ringing tonight. Miss Skeeter, and I say it slow, trying to make it count. I do this with you, I might as well burn my own house down. Miss Skeeter start biting her nail, then, but I've already... She shut her eyes closed tight. I think about asking her, already what? But I'm scared. I'm kind of scared to hear what she gonna say. She reached in her pocketbook, pull out a scrap of paper, and write her telephone number on it. Please. Will you please just think about it? I sigh and I stare out at the yard. Gentle as I can say, I say, no ma'am. She set the scrap of paper between us on the step, and then she get in her Cadillac. I am too tired to get up, and I just stay there watching while she rolled real slow down the road. The boys playing ball, clear the street, stand on the side frozen, like at a funeral car passing by. Chapter 8, Miss Skeeter. I drive down Jessamine Avenue in Mama's Cadillac. Up ahead, a little colored boy in overalls watches me, wide-eyed, gripping a red ball. I looked into my rearview mirror. Abilene is still on her front steps in her white uniform. She hadn't even looked at me when she said, "No, ma'am." She just kept her eyes set on that yellow patch of grass in her yard. I guess I thought it would be like visiting Constantine, where friendly colored people waved and smiled, happy to see the little white girl whose daddy owned the big farm. But here, narrow eyes watch me pass by. When my car gets close to him, the little colored boy turns and scats behind a house a few down from Abilene's. Half a dozen colored people are gathered in the front yard of the house, holding trays and bags. I rub my temples and I try to think of something more that might convince Abilene. A week ago, Pascagoula knocked on my bedroom door. "There's a long-distance phone call for you, Miss Skeeter, from a Miss Stern," she said. "Stern?" I thought out loud. Then I straightened. "Do you mean Stein?" I reckon it could have been Stein. She talked kind of hard-sounding. I rushed past Pascagoula down the stairs. For some stupid reason, I kept smoothing my frizzy hair down as if it were a meeting and not a phone call. In the kitchen, I grabbed the phone dangling against the wall. 3 weeks earlier, I typed out the letter on Strathmore white. 3 pages outlining the idea, the details, and the lie, which was that a hard-working and respected colored maid has agreed to let me interview her and describe in specifics what it was like to work for the white women of our town, weighing it against the alternative that I planned to ask a colored woman for help, saying she'd already agreed to it seemed infinitely more attractive. I stretched the cord into the pantry, pulled the string on the single bare bulb. The pantry is shelved floor to ceiling with pickles and soup jars, molasses, put-up vegetables, and preserves. This was my old high school trick to get some privacy. "Hello? This is Eugenia speaking." "Please hold. I'll put the call through." I heard a series of clicks and then a far, far away voice, almost as deep as a man's, say, "Elaine Stein." "Hello? This is Eugenia Fallon in Mississippi." "I know, Miss Fallon. I called you." I heard a match strike, a short, sharp inhale. "I received your letter last week. I have some comments." "Yes, ma'am." I sank down onto a tall tin can of King biscuit flour. My heart thumped as I strained to hear her. A phone call from New York truly sounded as crackly as 1,000 miles away ought to. "What gave you this idea about interviewing domestic housekeepers? I'm curious." I sat paralyzed a second. She offered no chatting or hello, no introduction of herself. I realized it was best to answer her as instructed. I was raised by a colored woman. I've seen how simple it can be and how complex it can be between the families and the help. I cleared my throat and I sounded stiff, like I was talking to a teacher. "Continue." "Well," I took a deep breath, "I'd like to write this showing the point of view from the help. The colored women down here," I tried to picture Constantine's face, Abilene's. "They raise a white child and then 20 years later the child become the employer. It's that irony that we love them and they love us, yet," I swallowed, my voice trembling, "we don't even allow them to use the toilet in the house." Again there was silence. "And," I felt compelled to continue, "everyone knows how we white people feel. The glorified mammy figure who dedicates her whole life to a white family. Margaret Mitchell covered that, but no one ever asked Mammy how she felt about it." Sweat dripped down my chest, blotting the front of my cotton blouse. "So you want to show a side that's never been examined before," Miss Stein said. "Yes, because no one ever talks about it. No one talks about anything down here." Elaine Stein laughed like a growl. Her accent was tight, Yankee. "Miss Fallon, I live in Atlanta for 6 years with my first husband." I latched onto this small connection. "So you know what it's like, then?" "Enough to get me out of there," she said, and I heard her exhale her smoke. "Look, I read your outline. It's certainly original, but it won't work. What maid in her right mind would ever tell you the truth?" I could see Mother's pink slippers pass by the door. I tried to ignore them. I couldn't believe Mrs. Stein was already calling my bluff. "The first interviewee is eager to tell her story." "Miss Fallon," Elaine Stein said, and I knew it wasn't a question, "this Negro actually agreed to talk to you candidly?" About working for a white family? Because that seems like a hell of a risk in a place like Jackson, Mississippi. I sat blinking. I felt the first fingers of worry that Abilene might not be as easy to convince as I thought. Little did I know what she would say to me on her front steps the next week. I watched them try to integrate your bus station on the news, Mrs. Stein continued. They jammed 55 Negroes in a jail cell built for 4. I pursed my lips. She has agreed. Yes, she has. Well, that is impressive. But after her, you really think other maids will talk to you? What if the employers find out? The interviews would be conducted secretively, since, as you know, things are a little dangerous down here right now. The truth was, I had very little idea how dangerous things were. I'd spent the past 4 years locked away in the padded room of college reading Keats and Eudora Welty and worrying over term papers. A little dangerous? She laughed. The marches in Birmingham, Martin Luther King, dogs attacking colored children, darling. It's the hottest topic in the nation. But I'm sorry, this will never work. Not as an article, because no Southern newspaper would ever publish it. And certainly not as a book. A book of interviews would never sell. Oh, I heard myself say. I closed my eyes, feeling all the excitement drain out of me, and I heard myself say it again. Oh. I called because, frankly, it's a good idea. But there's no possible way to take it to print. But what if... My eyes started darting around the pantry, looking for something to bring back her interest. Maybe I should talk about it as an article, maybe a magazine, but she said no. Eugenia, who are you talking to in there? Mother's voice cut through the crack. She inched the door open, and I yanked it closed again, and I covered the receiver and hissed, I'm talking to Hilly, Mother. In the pantry? You're like a teenager again. I mean, Mrs. Stein let out a sharp tisk. I suppose I could read what you get. God knows the book business could use some rattling. You do that? Oh, Mrs. Stein. I'm not saying I'm considering it, but do the interview, and I'll let you know if it's worth pursuing. I stuttered a few unintelligible sounds, finally coming out with, Thank you, Mrs. Stein. I can't tell you how much I appreciate your help. Don't thank me yet. Call Ruth, my secretary, if you need to get in touch. And she hung up. I lug an old satchel to Bridge Club at Elizabeth's on Wednesday. It is red, it is ugly, and for today, at least, it is a prop. It's the only bag in Mother's house I could find large enough to carry the Miss Myrna letters. The leather is cracked and flaking. The thick shoulder strap leaves a brown mark on my blouse where the leather stain is rubbing off. It's my grandmother Claire's gardening bag. She used to carry her gardening tools around the yard in it, and the bottom is still lined with sunflower seeds. It matches absolutely nothing I own, and I don't care. 2 weeks, Hilly says to me, holding up 2 fingers. He's coming. She smiles, and I smile back. I'll be right back, I say, and I slip into the kitchen, carrying my satchel with me. Abilene is standing in the afternoon. Afternoon, she says quietly. It was a week ago that I visited her at her house. I stand there a minute watching her stir the iced tea, feeling the discomfort in her posture, her dread that I might be about to ask for her help on this book again. I pull a few housekeeping letters out, and again, seeing this, Abilene's shoulders relax a little. As I read her a question about mold stains, she pours a little tea in a glass, tastes it. She spoons more sugar in the pitcher. Oh, for I forget. I got the answer on that water ring question. Minnie say you would just rub a little mayonnaise on it. Abilene squeezes half a lemon in the tea. Then go on and throw that no-good husband out the door. She stirs, tastes. Minnie don't take too well to husbands. Thanks, I'll put that down, I say, as casually as I can, and I pull an envelope from my bag. And here, I've been meaning to give you this. Abilene stiffens back into her cautious pose, the one she had when I walked in. What you got there, she says without reaching for it. For your help, I say quietly. I put away $5 for every article. It's up to $35 now. Abilene's eyes move quickly back to her tea. No, thank you, ma'am. Please take it. You've earned it. I hear chairs scraping on wood in the dining room and Elizabeth's voice. Please, Miss Skeeter. Miss Leaf'll have a fit if she finds you give me cash, Abilene whispers. She doesn't have to know. Abilene looks up at me, and the whites of her eyes are yellowed. Tired. I know what she's thinking. I already told you. I'm sorry I can't help you with that book, Miss Skeeter. I set the envelope on the counter, knowing I'd made a terrible mistake. Please, find you another colored maid, a young one, somebody else. But I don't know any others well enough. I'm tempted to bring up the word friends, but I am not that naive. I know we're not friends. Hilly's head pops through the door. Come on, Skeeter, I'm fixing to deal. And she disappears. I'm begging you, Abilene says, put that money away so Miss Leafold don't see it. I nod, embarrassed. I tuck the envelope in my bag, knowing we're worse off than ever. It's a bribe, she thinks, to get her to let me interview her. A bribe disguised as goodwill and thanks. I've been waiting to give her the money anyway once it added up to something, but it's true. My timing today has been deliberately planned, and now I've scared her off for good. Darling, just try it on your head. It costs $11. It must be good. Mother has me cornered in the kitchen. I glance at the door to the hall, to the door to the side porch. Mother comes closer, the thing in hand, and I'm distracted by how thin her wrists are, how frail her arms are carrying the heavy gray machine. She pushes me down into a chair, and not so frail after all, and squeezes a noisy, farty tube of goo on my head. Mother's been chasing me with a magic, soft and silky shine-a-later for 2 days now. She rubs the cream in my hair with both hands. I can practically feel the hope in her fingers. A cream will not straighten my nose or take a foot off my hat. I won't add distinction to my almost translucent eyebrows, nor add weight to my bony frame. And my teeth are already perfectly straight, so this is about all she has left to fix, my hair. Mother covers my dripping head with a plastic cap. She fastens a hose from the cap into a square machine. How long does this take, Mother? She picks up the book, and with a sticky finger, says here, cover with the miracle straightening cap, and then turn on the machine and wait for the miraculous 10 minutes, 15, what? I hear it click, a rise and rumble, then feel a slow, intense warmth on my head. But suddenly there's a pop. The tube is loose from the machine and jerking around like a mad fire hose. Mother shrieks, grabs at it, and misses, and finally she snatches it and reattaches it. She takes a deep breath and picks up the booklet again. The miracle cap must remain on the head for 2 hours without removal or results. 2 hours! I'll have Pascagoula fix you a glass of tea, dear. Mother pats me on the shoulder and swishes out through the kitchen door. For 2 hours, I smoke cigarettes and read Life magazine. I finish To Kill a Mockingbird. Finally, I pick up the Jackson Journal, pick through it. It's Friday, so there won't be a Miss Myrna column. On page 4, I read, Boy blinded over segregated bathroom. Suspects questioned. It sounds familiar. I remember then. This must be Abilene's neighbor. Twice this week I've gone by Elizabeth's house hoping she wouldn't be home so I could talk to Abilene and try to find some way to convince her to help me. Elizabeth was hunched over her sewing machine, intent on getting a new dress ready for the Christmas season. It is yet another green gown, cheap and frail. She must have gotten a steal at the bargain bin on green material. I wish I could go down to Kennington's and charge her something new, but just the offer would embarrass her to death. So do you know what you're wearing for the date? Hilly asked the second time I came by. Next Saturday. I'd shrugged. I guess I have to go shopping. Just then Abilene brought a tray of coffee out and set it on the table. Thank you, Elizabeth nodded to her. Why, thank you, Abilene, Hilly said, sugar in her cup. I tell you, you make the best colored coffee in town. Thank you, ma'am. Abilene, Hilly continued, how do you like your new bathroom out there? It's nice to have a place of your own now, isn't it? Abilene stared at the crack in the dining table. Yes, ma'am. You know, Mr. Holbrook arranged for that bathroom. Abilene sent the boys over and the equipment, too. Hilly smiled. Abilene just stood there, and I wished I wasn't in the room. Please, I thought, please don't say thank you. Yes, ma'am. Abilene opened a drawer and reached inside, but Hilly kept looking at her. It was so obvious what she wanted. Another second passed with no one moving. Hilly cleared her throat, and finally Abilene lowered her head. Thank you, ma'am, she whispered. She walked back into the kitchen. It's no wonder she doesn't want to talk to me. At noon, Mother removes the vibrating cap from my head, washes the goo from my hair while I lean back in the kitchen sink. She quickly rolls up a dozen curlers, puts me under her hairdryer hood in the bathroom. An hour later, I emerge pink and sore-headed and thirsty. Mother stands in front of me in the mirror, pulling out curlers, and she brushes out the giant circular mounds on my head, and we stare dumbfounded. Holy shit, I say. And all I'm thinking is the date. The blind date is next weekend. Mother smiles, shocked. She doesn't even scold me for cursing. My hair looks great. The shine-a-later actually worked. All right, this will be the last chapter for today, chapter 9, and we're still going with Miss Skeeter. On Saturday, the day of my date with Stuart Whitworth, I sit for 2 hours under the shine-a-later. Results, it seems, only last until the next wash. When I'm dry, I go to Kennington's and buy the flattest shoes I can find and a slim black crepe dress. I hate shopping, but I'm glad for the distraction to not have to worry about Mrs. Stein or Abilene for an afternoon. I charge the $85 to Mother's account since she's always begging me to go buy new clothes. Something flattering for your size. I know Mother would profoundly disapprove of the cleavage the dress enables me to have. I've never owned a dress like this. In the Kennington's parking lot, I start the car but cannot drive for the sudden pains in my stomach. I grip the white padded steering wheel, telling myself for the 10th time that it's ridiculous to wish for something I'll never have. To think I know the color blue his eyes are from a black and white photograph. To consider something a chance that is nothing but paper and filament and postponed dinners. But the dress, with my new hair, it actually looks pretty good on me, and I can't help but hope. It was 4 months ago when Hilly showed me the picture out back by our swimming pool. Hilly was tanning in the sun, and I was fanning in the murky shade. My heat rash had flared in July and hadn't subsided. I'm busy, I said. Hilly sat on the edge of the pool, sagging and post-pregnant fat, inexplicably confident in her black swimsuit. Her stomach was paunchy, but her legs, as always, were thin and pretty. I haven't even told you when he's coming, she said, and he comes from such a good family. She was, of course, talking about her own. He was William's second cousin. Just meet him and see what you think. I looked down at the picture again. He had clear, open eyes, light brown, curly hair, was the tallest in a group of men by a lake, but his body was half hidden by the others. He must not have all his limbs. There's nothing wrong with him, Hilly said. Ask Elizabeth. She met him at the benefit last year while you were up at school. Not to mention he dated Patricia Vanderveer forever. Patricia Vanderveer? Most beautiful at Ole Miss 2 years in a row? Plus, he started his own oil business over in Vicksburg, so if it doesn't work out, it's not like you'll be running into him every day in town. All right, I finally sighed, more than anything to get Haley off my back. It's past 3 o'clock by the time I get back home from buying the dress. I'm supposed to be at Hilly's at 6 to meet Stuart. I check the mirror. The curls are starting to fray on the ends, but the rest of my hair is still smooth. Mother was thrilled when I told her I wanted to try the shine-a-later again and wasn't even suspicious of why. She doesn't know about my date tonight, and if she somehow finds out, the next 3 months will be full of excruciating questions like, did he call? What did you do wrong? When it doesn't work out. Mother's downstairs in the relaxing room with Daddy, hollering at the rebel basketball team. My brother, Carlton, is on the sofa with his shiny new girlfriend. They drove up this afternoon from LSU. She has a dark, straight ponytail and wears a red blouse. When I get Carlton alone in the kitchen, he laughs, yanks my hair like we're kids again. So how are you, sister? I tell him about the job at the paper, that I'm editor of the League newsletter. I also tell him he'd better be moving back home after law school. You deserve some of Mother's time, too. I'm taking more than my fair share here, I say through gritted teeth. He laughs like he understands, but how could he really? He's 3 years older than me and great looking, tall, with wavy blonde hair, finishing LSU law school, protected by 170 miles of badly paved roads. When he goes back to his girlfriend, I search for Mother's car keys, but I can't find them anywhere. It's already 4:45. I go and stand in the doorway, try to catch Mother's attention. I have to wait for her to finish firing questions at Ponytail Girl about her people and where she's from, but Mother will not let up until she finds at least one person they have in common. After that, it's what sorority the girl was in at Vanderbilt, and she finally concludes by asking her what her silver pattern is. It's better than a horoscope, Mother always says. Ponytail Girl says her family pattern is Chantilly, but she'll be picking out her own new pattern when she gets married, since I consider myself an independent thinker and all. Carlton pats her on the head, and she nudges against his hand like a cat. They both look up at me and smile. Skeeter, Ponytail Girl says to me across the room, you're so lucky to come from a Francis, the first family pattern. Will you keep it when you get married? Francis the First is just dreamy, I beam. Why, I pull those forks out all the time just to look at 'em. Mother narrows her eyes at me. I motion her to the kitchen, but another 10 minutes pass until she comes in. Where in the world are your keys, Mama? I'm late for Hilly's. I'm staying there tonight. What? But Carlton's home. What's his new friend going to think if you leave her for something better to do? I put off telling her this because I knew whether Carlton was home or not, it would turn into an argument. And Pascola made a roast, and Daddy got the wood all ready for the fire tonight in the relaxing room. It's 85 degrees outside, Mama. Now look, your brother's home, and I expect you to behave like a good sister. I don't want you leaving until you've had a nice long visit with this girl. She's looking at her watch while I remind myself I'm 23 years old. Please, darling, she says, and I sigh and carry a damn tray of mint juleps out to the others. Mama, I say back in the kitchen at 5:28, I have got to go. Where are your keys? Hilly's waiting on me. But we haven't even had the pigs in the blanket yet. Hilly's got a stomach bug, I whisper, and her kid and her help doesn't come in tomorrow. She needs me to help watch the kids. Mother sighs. I guess that means you're going to church with them too. And I thought we could all go tomorrow as a family, have Sunday dinner together. Mama, please, I say, rummaging through a basket where she keeps her keys. I can't find your keys anywhere. You can't take the Cadillac overnight. That's our good Sunday church car. He's going to be at Hilly's in 30 minutes, and I'm supposed to dress and do my makeup at Hilly's, so Mother won't suspect anything. I can't take Daddy's new truck. It's full of fertilizer. I know he'll need it at dawn tomorrow. All right, I'll take the old truck then. I believe it has a trailer on it. Go ask your Daddy. I can't ask Daddy because I can't go through this in front of 3 other people who look all hurt that I'm leaving. So I grab the old truck keys and I say, it doesn't matter. I'm just going straight to Hilly's. And I huff outside only to find that not only does the truck have a trailer hitched to it, but a half-ton tractor on top of that trailer. So I drive into town for my first date in 2 years in a red 1941 Chevrolet 4 on the floor with a John Deere motor grader hooked behind me. The engine sputters and churns, and I wonder if the truck will make it. Chunks of mud spray behind me off the tires. The engine stalls on the main road, sending my dress and bag flying onto the dirty floor. I have to restart twice. At 5:45, a black thing streaks out in front of me, and I felt a thunk. I try to stop, but braking's just not something you can do very quickly with a 10,000-pound piece of machinery behind you. I groan and pull over. I have to go check. Remarkably, the cat stands up, looks around stunned, and shoots back into the woods as quickly as it came. At 3 minutes to 6, after doing 20 in at 50 with horns honking and teenagers hollering at me, I parked down the street from Hilly's house since Hilly's cul-de-sac doesn't provide adequate parking for farm equipment. I grab my bag and run inside without even knocking. All out of breath and sweaty and windblown, and there they are, the 3 of them, including my date, having highballs in the front living room. I freeze in the entrance hall with all of them looking up at me. William and Stuart both stand up. God, he's tall, has at least 4 inches over me. Hilly's eyes are big when she grabs my arm. Boys, we'll be right back. Y'all just sit tight and talk about quarterbacks or something. Hilly whisks me off to her dressing room. We both start groaning. It's just so goddamn awful. Skeeter, you don't even have lipstick on. Your hair looks like a rat's nest. I know. Look at me. All traces of the Shine-a-Later's miracle are gone. There's no air conditioning in the truck. I had to ride with the damn windows down. I scrub my face and Hilly sits me in her dressing room chair and she starts combing my hair out the way my mother used to, twisting it into these giant rollers, spraying it with vinyl net. Well, what did you think of him? She asks. I sigh and close my unmascaraed eyes. He looks handsome. I smear the makeup on, something I hardly even know how to do. Hilly looks at me and smudges it off with a tissue, reapplies it. I slip into the black dress with the deep V in the front and the black Delman flats. Hilly quickly brushes out my hair, and I wash my armpits with a wet rag, and she rolls her eyes at me. I hit a cat, I say. He's already had 2 drinks waiting on you. I stand up and smooth my dress down. All right, I say. Give it to me, 1 to 10. Hilly looks me up and down, stops on the dip in the front of the dress. She raises her eyebrows. I've never shown cleavage before in my life. Kind of forgot I had it. 6, she says, like she's kind of surprised herself. We just look at each other a second. Hilly lets out a little squeal, and I smile back. Hilly's never given me higher than a 4. When we come back into the front living room, William's pointing his finger at Stuart. I'm going to run for that seat, and by God, with your daddy's Stuart Whitworth, Hilly announces, I'd like to introduce you to Skeeter Fallon. He stands up, and for a minute my head is perfectly quiet inside. I make myself look like self-inflicted torture as he takes me in. Stuart here went to school over at the University of Alabama, William says, adding, Roll Tide. Nice to meet you. Stuart flips me a brief smile, then he takes a long slurp of his drink until I hear the ice clink against his teeth. So where are we off to? He asks William. We take William's Oldsmobile to the Robert E. Lee Hotel. Stuart opens my door and sits beside me in the back, but then leans over the seat talking to William about deer season the rest of the ride. At the table, he pulls out my chair for me, and I sit, smile, say thank you. You want a drink? He asks me, not looking my way. No thanks, just water, please. He turns to the waiter and says, Double Old Kentucky, straight, with a water back. I guess it's some time after his fifth bourbon, I say, So Hilly tells me you're in the oil business. That must be interesting. The money's good, if that's what you really want to know. Oh, I didn't. But I stop because he's craning his neck at something, and I look up and he's staring at a woman who's at the door, a busty blonde with red lipstick and a tight green dress. William turns to see what Stuart's looking at, but he swings back around quickly, shakes his head no, very slightly at Stuart, and I see, heading out the door, it's Hilly's old boyfriend, Johnny Foot, with his new wife, Celia. They leave, and William and I glance at each other, sharing our relief that Hilly didn't see them. Lord, that girl's hot as Tunica Blacktop, Stuart says under his breath, and I suppose that's when I just stop caring what happens. At some point, Hilly looks at me to see what's going on, and I smile like everything's fine, and when she smiles back, happy to see it's all working out. William, the lieutenant governor just walked in. Let's go speak before he sits down. They go off together, leaving us, the two lovebirds, sitting on the same side of the table, staring at all the happy couples in the room. So, he says, hardly turning his head, you ever go to any of the Alabama football games? I never even made it to Colonel Field, and that was 5,000 yards from my bed. No, I'm not really a football fan. I look at my watch. It's hardly 7:15. That's so. He eyes the drink the waiter has handed him like he's really enjoying down in it. Well, what do you do with your time? I write a domestic maintenance column for the Jackson Journal. He wrinkles his brow and then laughs. Domestic maintenance? You mean housekeeping? I nod. Jesus, he stirs his drink. I can't think of anything worse than reading a column on how to clean a house, he says. And I notice that his front tooth is the slightest bit crooked. I long to point this imperfection out to him, but he finishes his thought with, except maybe writing it. I just stare at him. Sounds like a ploy to me to find a husband, becoming an expert on housekeeping. Well, you must be a genius. You figured out my whole scheme. Isn't that what you women from Ole Miss major in, professional husband hunting? I watch him. I'm dumbfounded. I may not have had a date in 19 years, but who does he think he is? I'm sorry, but were you dropped on your head as an infant? He blinks at me, then laughs for the first time all night. Not that it's any of your business, I say, but I had to start somewhere if I plan on being a journalist. I think I've actually impressed him, but then he throws back the drink and the look is gone. We eat dinner, and from his profile I can see his nose is a little pointy. His eyebrows are too thick, his light brown hair too coarse, and we say little else to each other at least. Hilly chats, throwing things our way like, Stuart, Skeeter here lives on a plantation just north of town. Didn't the senator grow up on a peanut farm? Stuart orders yet another drink. When Hilly and I go to the bathroom, she gives me a hopeful smile. What do you think? He's tall. I say, surprised she hasn't noticed that. Not only is my date inexplicably rude, but drop dead drunk. The end of the meal finally comes, and he and William split the check. Stuart stands up and helps me with my jacket. At least he has nice manners. Jesus, I've never met a woman with such long arms, he says. Well, I've never met anybody with such a drinking problem. Your coat smells like, and he leans down and sniffs it, grimacing. Fertilizer. He strides off to the men's room, and I wish I could disappear. The car ride, all 3 minutes of it, is impossibly silent and long. We go back inside Hilly's house. Eula May comes out in her white uniform, says, they all fine, went to bed good, and she slips out through the kitchen door. I excuse myself to the bathroom. Skeeter, why don't you drive Stuart home? William says when I come out. I'm bushed, aren't you, Hilly? Hilly's looking at me like she's trying to figure out what I want to do, and I thought I'd made it obvious when I stayed in the bathroom for 10 minutes. "Your car's not here?" I asked the air in front of Stuart. "I don't believe my cousin's in a position to drive." William laughs. Everyone's quiet again. "I came in a truck," I say. "I'd hate for you to—" "Shoot," William says, slapping Stuart on the back. "Stuart doesn't mind riding in a truck, do you, buddy?" "William," Hilly says, "why don't you drive? And Skeeter, you can ride along." "Not me. I'm too boozed up myself," William says, even though he just drove us home. Finally, I just walk out the door. Stuart follows me. Doesn't comment that I didn't park in front of Hilly's house or in Hilly's driveway. When we get to my truck, we both stop, stare at the 15-foot tractor hooked behind my vehicle. "You pulled that thing all by yourself?" I sigh. I guess it's because I'm a big person and have never felt petite or particularly feminine or girly. But that tractor, it just seems to sum up so much. "That's the funniest damn looking thing I've ever seen," he says. I step away from him. "Hilly can take you," I say. "Hilly will drive you." He turns and focuses on me for what I'm pretty sure is the first time all night. After several long moments of standing there being looked at, my eyes fill with tears. I'm just so tired. "Oh, shit," he says, and his body loosens. "Look, I told Hilly I wasn't ready for any damn date." "Don't," I say, backing away from him, and I head back to the house. Sunday morning, I get up early before Hilly and William, before the kids and the church traffic, and I drive home with that tractor rumbling behind me. The fertilizer smell gives me a hangover, even though I had nothing but water last night. I'd gone back in Hilly's house last night, Stuart trailing behind me, knocking on Hilly's bedroom door, and I asked William, who already had a mouthful of toothpaste, would he mind driving Stuart home. I'd walked upstairs to the guest room before he even answered. I step over Daddy's dogs on the porch, go into my parents' house, and as soon as I see my mother, I give her a hug. When she tries to let go, I can't let her. "What is it, Skeeter? You didn't catch Hilly's stomach bug, did you?" "No, I'm fine." I wish I could tell her about my night. I feel guilty for not being nicer to her, for not needing her until my own life turns bad. I feel bad for wishing Constantine was here instead. Mother pats my wind-blown hair down, since it must be adding at least 2 inches to my height. "You sure you're not feeling bad?" "I'm all right, Mama. I'm just too tired to resist, and I ache like someone kicked me in the stomach with boots on. It won't go away." "You know," she says, smiling, "I think this might be the one for Carlton." "Good, Mama," I say. "I'm really glad for him." At 11 o'clock the next morning, the phone rings. Luckily, I'm in the kitchen and pick it up. "Miss Skeeter?" I stand very still and then look out at my mother examining her checkbook at the dining room table. Pasquale is pulling a roast out of the oven, and I go into the pantry and shut the door. "Abilene?" I whisper. She's quiet a second, and then she blurts it out. "What if— Well, if you don't like what I got to say, I mean about white peoples." This isn't my opinion." I say, "It doesn't matter how I feel. But how I know you ain't gonna get mad, turn around on me?" "I don't. I guess you'll just have to trust me." I hold my breath, hoping and waiting. There's a long pause. "Law have mercy, I reckon I'm gonna do it." "Abilene," my heart is pounding. "You have no idea how much I appreciate her." "Miss Skeeter, we're gonna have to be careful." "We will, I promise. And you're gonna have to change my name. Mine, Miss Leafolt's, everybody's. Of course, I should have mentioned this. When can we meet? Where can we meet?" "Can't do it in the white neighborhood, that's for sure, I guess. We're going to have to do it over at my house. Do you know any other maids who might be interested?" I ask, even though Mrs. Stein has only agreed to read one. But I have to be ready on the slim chance she likes it. Abilene is quiet a moment. "I guess I could ask Minnie, but she ain't real keen on talking to white peoples." "Minnie? You mean Mrs. Walter's old maid?" I say, feeling suddenly how incestuous this is turning. I wouldn't just be peering into Elizabeth's life, but Hilly's too. Minnie got her some stories, sure enough. "Abilene," I say, "thank you. Oh, thank you." "Yes, ma'am. I have to ask you, what changed your mind?" Abilene doesn't even pause. "Miss Hilly," she says. I go quiet, thinking of Hilly's bathroom plan and accusing the maid of stealing, and her talk of diseases. The name comes out flat, bitter as a bad pecan. We'll end there. See you next time on my Book Nook.